but we're happy to say a very good morning, delighted to say a very good morning to Jamie Jenkins, a political and economic commentator. Jamie, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy. I think you need a trigger warning every time you talk about government policy these days.
Trigger warning. Well, I've done it. Now, don't come on here, right? Don't come on here, baldy. Trigger. I'm joking. Trigger warning. Listen, it's great to have you here, mate. We've been having a bit of a laugh because if you do genuinely look at what's happening in this country, and I thought the Mail had it spot on today, nervy bond market spike again as PM hires raft of high tax fanatics, ID card threats, arresting, the Father Ted writer for daring to have an opinion. Genuinely, usually, Jamie, you would have situations in political circles and in cycles where people go, oh, we've had enough. This is going from bad to worse. Let's talk with you, if we can, please, about the story that's going around. And there is real alarm about the financial implications of this government. Borrowing at its highest rate in 27 years. People are making analogies with Liz Truss, who didn't do as badly and was ousted. And many people believe that we are heading towards a cap-in-hand moment with the International Monetary Fund. What's your take on all of this, Jamie?
Yeah, it's not very good, Jeremy. So if we break down what's really going on, is that, so our kind of the bond yields, and that's our 30-year debt yields, and that's what the government has to pay to borrow money. Now, they are at those massive 30-year highs, as you've discussed there. And what that means pretty much is the financial markets are losing confidence in the government policy. So we've got the highest cost of borrowing in the G7. Inflation's higher in the G7. It's more than double what we've got in kind of the likes of Germany. And if you think about what we currently borrow, Jeremy, over 100 billion a year is borrowed because we have to pay debt interest. So, and our total national debt, this is just, a stark number, is 2.87 trillion pounds. That's what not just this government, but the last government over many, many years, just borrowing. We very rarely pay anything back there, Jeremy. So it's 2.87 trillion. What does that mean in numbers? So that's 58,000 per person. If we take the children out, because obviously they don't generate any money themselves generally, it's £58,000 per person. And the government solution with this kind of cost of borrowing going up and the debt interest going up is normally, right, the Labour government will tax more. But what tax does is it just stifles the economy. So we're in a bit of a mess, well, probably a big mess, actually. And part of this is down to the government's policies, Jeremy.
We on this station, we've always advocated, being honest and straight. I think the British public grew incredibly tired of the Tories. They felt after 14 years they didn't have answers, they hadn't kept their promises. Do you, in your experience, Jamie, have you ever known a government in such a short space of time seemingly get things so drastically wrong? Because I go back to that. Nervy bond markets, ID cards, the streets are full of crime, the police seem to have different rules for different segments of society. Migration is at an all-time high. The British people, I think, are rightly shouting, where's the fairness in all of this? And it is pretty, all joking apart this morning, it is pretty depressing. And I don't believe these people have the answers. Do you? I mean, what are the answers? Are there answers?
Yeah, so there are answers. I think part of the challenge, you're right, the Tory party didn't do a great job. No. They are one of the reasons taxes are so high, and we've got the Labour government putting that up even higher. High tax, just taking money out of people's pockets, stifles growth. So that's part of the problem that you've got here. And just remember the last election, I don't think it was a ringing endorsement for Keir Starmer. The number of votes he got was lower, I think, than what Jeremy Corbyn got.
Absolutely true, 34%. Absolutely, Corbyn got more than that, you're right.
Yeah, so it's not a ringing endorsement. It was pretty much, people were fed up of the Tories, so it was more a protest vote to get them out, which is interesting why Reform are doing so well quite quickly in the polls, from a party coming from nowhere about 5 years ago. So can we fix this? I think we can, but the difficulty you have with governments, Jeremy, and Rachel Reeves is a good example, when you start off on a path, politicians don't like to admit they're doing things wrong. So she's unlikely to change things. And maybe that's why Keir Starmer this week has now put some more economic advisors in number 10 to start wrestling back a bit of economic control from the government.
But I mean, look, you're younger than me. I'm very, very old. I genuinely believe, hand on heart, that this government, like successive Labour governments, has one policy and one policy over. which is to tax people who've been successful to whatever degree and spread that out amongst their union mates. It used to be amongst, you know, the working classes because they cared about the working people. I don't think they do. I think they're hypocrites. Truth of the matter is, if you look back in history, we always end up in a financially bad time. It's difficult as well, isn't it? When you listen to that, almost 3 trillion in debt. It just doesn't even make sense. I liked your analogy, though. £58,000 per person we're in debt, and the government's idea is to charge us more tax to pay for the money that they owe on us. And at a point, you know, they came in and they talked about growth. They've done everything to stunt growth, in my humble opinion, Jamie. Just to sum up, what's your view of this country right now? We've woken up to the sun saying Britain's fact. We've talked about ID cards and free speech. Do you feel desperate like me, or are you fighting back? What are you thinking?
Well, it's a desperate kind of situation. The ID cards, Jeremy, part of the rationale for that is because all the small boat migrants are coming over. Just stop the small boat migrants. Don't need to.
Will it? But they throw their passports in the sea. What?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, I don't think we should be trying to police the British population. I think we should be trying to do something about the people who are getting here illegally that we don't vet. We don't know who they are. Look at those pictures on screen right now. And I'd stop giving £500 million to the French who've done absolutely nothing. But listen, that's another story, mate. We really appreciate you being on. Really, we didn't need a trigger warning. You've been the most professional person all morning, Jamie Jenkins. Thank you. Just gone quarter to 8.